Hello and welcome to part 4 of the mini layout build. So today's video is going to be about getting the bridge all sorted, also the road surface done, and then adding a bit more scenery. So hopefully you enjoy this video. Remember to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on the next couple of videos, and remember parts 1, 2 and 3 are all there ready to be watched if you haven't seen them already. Right, let's crack on. So I have my bridge and the ramp going up to my tunnel in place, and I'm just using now normal plaster filler. So this is, I think this was stuff from Wilko when it was open, about £2-3 for a tube of it. So all I'm doing is putting it down because there's a gap where the ramp comes down onto the road. So I'm just going to build up a surface area using my finger mainly just to put it in the right place. And then the idea is to let this dry and then add another layer and build it up until it's the correct level to the ramp. And then I'm going to put it everywhere I would like the road surface to be, just to add a bit of texture to where the road surface will be. And then I'm going to paint over that in the same paint which is already down. So just using my finger, like I said, just going to put it down. You don't need to be neat and tight because I'm going to go over this with some light sandpaper and smooth it down in most areas. I'm going to have a few rough areas here and there, but overall you don't need to be too neat because you're just going to sand it down to make it fairly smooth. So let's crack on with that. So you can see I'm just using a filling knife as well as my finger, and I'm just putting it everywhere where I want the road to be. So there's going to be a main bit in front of where the ramp is. There's a bit near either side of the ramp, and one will be a car parking area near the station's going to be, and one's just going to be sort of like a siding area, and then just a little bit between the sort of the brown gravelly stuff and the grass. But I'm leaving an area where the station's going to be, so where that sort of loose stuff is at the minute. But this goes down quite quickly. You just need to let it dry, and then you can add more layers to it to build up the height. So let's go back to normal time. So now the plan is, roughly it's in the right place, is to let this dry. Then I might add another couple of layers, sand it down, then paint over it. So now I'm going to rewind and show you how I did the bridge / ramp up to the tunnel. So this is the ramp / bridge up to my tunnel, made of just cardboard, as you can see, just basic cardboard, nice and cheap and cheerful. And all I've done is added one layer of static grass one side and the other side, and then painted where the road surface is going to be. So I'm going to add now some static grass layering spray onto both sides, and just add another layer and colour to the grass area. So this time I'm going to use my 6mm grass. So this is a different length, so on there at the minute it's 2mm. And then I'm also going to mix in a bit of more 2mm, but this time the autumn mix. So just adding a couple of different colours as well. So make sure you give your bottle a good shake. And it's as simple as just spraying it on over where you want your static grass to go. So I'm giving it a good old spray. And then already in here is the 2 different grasses I want. And all I'm going to do is just shake it over and add more texture, more layering and more colours. Try and make it more realistic. So once I've done one side, okay, that's how it comes out. So you can see there's a bit more colour on this side. It might not come great up on the camera, but I will do a close-up video. And it's doing exactly the same then on the opposite side, and then letting it dry, and then maybe even adding a little bit more texture to it. But it's as simple as that, really. It's not the hardest job in the world. Anyone can do it. So simple as that. So same process again, but this time I've got a different coloured grass to go on. I think this is the slightly longer 6mm grass, so hopefully you'll be able to see the difference on camera this time because it's going to be a different length. So there's that, and then hopefully you can see the difference from the side which I haven't done. So just a few different variants of the green colour, just try and make it look more realistic. So I'm going to do the other side there. Well, I've got it all loaded up in my applicator, and then I'm going to let that dry. It doesn't take that long to dry, and then glue this then into position on the layout, and then we can mould a bit more filler to make sure it looks like it belongs where it should be. But just before I add this to the layout, I'm going to add some PVA glue down both sides and add some foliage just to try and hide any sort of areas which don't look great, but also show a clear separation between the road and the sides. So I'm going to add a bit of my green foliage, which I've used throughout the whole layout build. So just simple, put a bit of layer of PVA glue on, then put some over, and then with my fingers just dab it into place. And that's now ready to be added onto the layout. So before I add it to the layout, I've just now let my filler dry, and now I'm just going over it with some very light sandpaper just to try and smooth it down in some areas. Some areas I want to be rough because obviously roads are not all smooth after wear and time, and also you get potholes, so it doesn't need to be perfectly smooth, but I want most of it to be smoothish. So I'm just going over it very lightly, and then I'll hoover up all the loose stuff that comes off. So I've now decided I'm going to paint this first before putting the ramp on. So I'm just using the same coloured test pot paint I've used before on the layout, just that grey colour, and I'm just going to go over that very quickly. I might do a couple of layers, but just going to over that very quickly just to make it look more like a road surface colour. So the road now is dry from the paint, and this is the ramp hill, which needs to now go onto the layout so it can go up to the tunnel. So a way for vehicles to get actually onto the layout, onto the station and the sidings area. So all I'm going to use is a very simple method. I'm going to use some PVA glue and stick it down basically. And then what I'll do, once it's stuck into place, I will build up my road layer towards the front just to hide that bit at the front which doesn't look great, and build up the road surface so it hides all of that. And then I will add more static grass and a bit of foliage around both sides and actually on the actual hill itself, to make it look like it's been there for a long time. So I'm just trying to make sure I get the best fit possible for now. So somewhere like that. And then I'm going to add the glue, and then the next scene will be add more foliage and then also add fencing on either side of the hill to stop people falling off and vehicles falling off. So while that all dries in place, there's no better excuse to run some locos around. So this is the Hornby packet with a 4-wheel coach and with the magnetic light strip in. And then in the siding we have the packet with a Christmas wagon. And then if you can see, I've put a bit more layer of filler at the end of the ramp just to blend it in better. And then at the top on the actual bridge we've got the Coca-Cola Christmas wagon. So the build is coming along very nicely. So this all needs to dry now tonight. So I'm just going to leave you now with some videos of the trains running around. So that's it for part 4 of the layout build. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video. So next one is now just adding more foliage. So I've done a little bit. I've added a bit more filler to the top of the ramp and the bottom of the ramp. And that one needs sanding down and painting. But it fits in really nicely, this ramp, and gives the layout a bit more height and structure. So hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Remember to subscribe and like the video, and part 5 will come out in a week's time, which will be the last one, and then there'll be one more after that, just showing train spaces running around the whole layout. So thanks for watching, and see you on the next one.